Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Gripe, the show for short, sweet reviews of new release movies, plus the one thing that annoyed me the most. And today I'm going to be talking about Arrival, and there will be a major spoiler in this. When they arrived, no one knew what to make of the alien crafts, but one expert linguist is about to find out if communication can save them all before the world erupts into chaos. The film stars Amy Adams, Jeremy Renner, Forrest Whitaker, Michael Stuhlbarg, and Z Ma, and the film is directed by Denis Villeneuve. It's always great when we get a science fiction movie that works in applicable reality. As fun as movies like Star Trek are, it has a very basic script when the humans encounter aliens. Or we get something like Independence Day where the aliens are here to destroy us without cause. Arrival is neither of those things, and that's what makes it intriguing. Amy Adams plays an expert in xenolinguistics, Louise Banks, who is called on to try to communicate with the mysterious aliens that have arrived all over the world. There's 12 of them that have arrived at different places across the globe. And the movie approaches this in a more structured way than we usually see. They quarantine the areas, they contain it, and they communicate with the other sites in a way to each one understand their particular site and share that information with the rest of the world. The paranoia and the fear is still there because of course it would be, but the situation is addressed rationally. And Dr. Banks offers that language is important not just to convey words, but to define larger concepts. And this is where the core of the film gets interesting because language and time become intertwined. Throughout the film, we get what we believe are flashbacks of the past. But the film starts out with the discussion of life without beginning or ends. That at any point in life, it's not a beginning or an end, it's just part of a constant cycle of life. And this becomes a critical concept when they begin communicating with the septopods, which is what they call the aliens. We think of language as something between our two hands, so it is constrained by time, whereas they think of language as circular. It's pretty heady and a little confusing at times, but it's fascinating nonetheless. But I'm a linguist, so I love that stuff anyway. Denis Villeneuve, who's done movies like Prisoners and Sicario, is quickly becoming one of my favorite directors in terms of style. He is so character-centric that you are engrossed by everything going on in front of you. The dialogue in this movie does have some flaws, but visually the story is profound. He's an absolutely patient filmmaker with an almost Tarkovsky inclination. The film isn't meant to be heavy on effects either. In fact, the budget was a modest $47 million, so it's not meant to be this super effect-heavy film. It's meant to be a think piece. And the cast is small, with Adams pretty much being the center of everything in the film, and she does a fantastic job with that. I was a little disappointed in both Whitaker and Renner, though, who are both wooden at various points in the film. They don't really strike me as actors who have either won an Oscar or been nominated before, as both of them have. But I did really like the one scene where Z Ma actually spoke, because he's an underrated character actor. Throughout the film, he's mostly a stoic character, but in this one scene, you actually see some of that emotion come through, and it's actually quite intriguing to watch. But this was Adam's show, and she carried it well, especially with the heartbreaking revelation that the flashbacks that we're seeing are actually the future. She is actually seeing the future because her memories are starting to be unconstrained by time. And what that means is she knows that her daughter will die, and yet she still moves forward. So there's this really powerful scene at the end of the movie where it's revealed that she knows that she's going to have a daughter and she's going to have to watch her daughter die of an illness. There's really not a lot to say wrong about this movie, but my key gripe is one, there's a scene that really just annoyed me. And thanks to CinemaSins, I now always notice narration, especially when it feels like it's out of place. And there's a scene in the middle of the movie that was basically a narrated montage. It wasn't so much that it was narration, but more that it was done, and it was spoken by Renner, like he was doing a documentary. It really felt out of place and kind of forced, whereas we could easily extrapolate from the visual storytelling what is going on in this time period, but this just narrated scene just really did not seem to fit, and that was one part that just kind of irked me a little bit. Ultimately, this is a story about cooperation, communication, and approaching situations of fear with reason, and that's a lesson we can all learn right now. This movie has some pretty poignant commentary that I think a lot of us could take to heart. We definitely need more cerebral science fiction these days, and Villeneuve took a fantastic concept and executed it masterfully. Arrival is billed as a movie about aliens coming to Earth, but in the end, it's so much more a story of who we are as people and how we will survive as a global race. It's got a lot of poignant messages in it. I'm going to give this movie an 8.5. Fantastic film. I definitely recommend it to anybody who wants more heady science fiction. Let me know what you thought of Arrival if you've seen it. Let me know if you liked or disliked certain aspects of the film. That'll do it for this episode of Key Gripe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye. Hey gang, thanks for watching this video. If you like what you see, you can click to subscribe to check out my other videos right here on YouTube. Or you can click the link to check out my website to find out about all of my other projects, including my podcasts, as well as my books. So what do you say? Click away.